Today in North Hollywood, we're gonna get to see an officer give a perp a little "how you doing" with the bumper. Today's video is brought to us by Mantis. The Mantis family of products is integral to ASP staff building handgun and carbine skills and are your most economical and fastest path to improvement in your skills too. Whether you choose the X10, the Laser Academy, the Blackbeard, or use them all in concert, they will help your practice be more effective, efficient, and fun. Go check them out, pick up a unit, and thank them for sponsoring today's video. Hi everyone, thank you so much for being here for today's badge cam lesson at Active Self-Protection. I'm your host, John Correa.
I'm your co-host, Mike Williver, and John already said this video comes from North Hollywood, California.
LAPD has received a 911 call from the house mom of a halfway house, and one of her residents is high and drunk, out past curfew with a knife and threatening himself with that knife. So she called 911, and of course that is going to bring LAPD to the yard. They show up in force. Let's see what happens.
When we're making contact.
Hey, no, hey, put the knife away. Put the knife down. Put the knife down. Where did you put it? Okay.
Put it down.
Okay. All right, do me a favor. Yeah.
Front him out.
Hey man, do me a favor, go inside. Move away.
Hey, sir, hey! Don't move.
Don't move.
He put the knife in his
Drop the
pocket.
knife.
He has a knife. Come on.
Go inside. Get away. Drop the knife.
Watch crossfire. Hey, put the knife.
Put the knife down.
I got taser.
Put the knife down.
Drop.
Wait, let him run. Hey, guys. Everybody hold. Hey, get a backup and supervisor. Hey, 40. Beanbag. Wait. Okay, ready up. Hey, Villalobos. VDCO. Hey, Villalobos, you're DCO. You're DCO. Hey, Perez. Wait. Perez, you're 40. Move up. Hey, drop it. 40. Hey, Collier, be calm.
Drop the knife, dude.
Hey, wait, let's slow it down. Hey, Villalobos, let's create distance. Let's create distance. We'll have the 40. Hey, drop the knife. Okay, be calm, please. Hey, you two be my arrest team.
Drop the knife, man.
You be secondary DCO. Okay. Hey, you know what? Do we have another shot? Hey, stop. Hey, hit him. Wait. Traffic. Drop the knife, bro. Stop. No, we aren't gonna have to go up at 40 on you. Hey, 40 now. Hit him with the 40, dude. Drop it. Yeah, he does. Hey, drop it. Drop it.
Try to get cover over here, guys.
We're doing
Some cover, man.
Hey, create distance.
Yeah.
Create distance. We're good. We're good. We got it.
Hey, back up.
We got it.
If you can get
Hey, Villalobos, hit him with the taser, bro. If you can get close enough. Drop it.
drop the knife, dude.
Drop it.
Drop it.
Drop the knife.
Drop it. Drop it. Hey, wait. Stop. What are you doing?
You still got it. Drop the knife. Drop the knife. Hit him with the 40. Down the fucking ground. Drop the fucking knife. Down the fucking ground. Drop the knife.
Got it.
I got one arm. Give me the other arm. Give me the other arm. Yeah. Got it? Yeah. Stop moving. Move, relax, man.
They got this guy into custody and went and got him detoxed. He had very minor injuries to his leg and to his arm. They said from contact from the cruiser. We're going to talk about that in the lessons. He was charged with aggravated assault against a police officer, and the use of the cruiser in hitting the guy, we're going to see he didn't actually hit him in the lessons, was deemed to be outside of policy. And so the officer that was driving the car is subject to discipline, though we don't get to see what discipline he was subject to. I mean, when you watch it, I laughed, right? Like, you know, oh, we got to get all this crazy action, and then boop.
Yeah, that was pretty.
And the guy goes,
Ow.
He had like 1 hit point. Geez, Mike, this just feels like one of those disasters of a call that you've got to take seriously. It's a drunk and disorderly man with a knife who's threatening himself and others. But at the same time, this guy's like a big goofball. And so I don't know what to do with this one.
Yeah, as we record this, John and I just recorded another video out of Chula Vista, California, where there's two homeless guys under the stairs with a knife in a hostage situation. Again, not really on your bingo card when you leave roll call. This is a thing that's going to happen, but it did happen. And I'm going to say right off the bat here, I think they did a pretty fantastic job from start to finish and saved this guy's life. And I think he's lucky that these well-trained professional officers were the one to respond to his shenanigans and hijinks.
And you look here. Beanbag didn't work. Taser didn't work. Taser didn't work again. He's got a knife, and look to the very far left. You can see an officer with his hand on his holster on his gun who chooses not to shoot him, okay? And why? I think they can recognize here that by the totality, I mean, if the officer had drawn his gun and shot the guy and said, oh, he was coming after me with a knife, that probably would have been deemed as justified, but not necessary because of the circumstances that surrounded it. So I just wanted to take a minute here and say kudos to this officer for recognizing this guy's running away from me. In reality, I don't feel threatened by this guy in this moment, so I don't have to shoot him, so I didn't. Props to him.
Yeah, I think, and again, I'm going to beat the dead horse of interactions in law enforcement. Your ability to do a thing at a particular time on a particular type of call is always moment to moment. One moment you could be justified in using deadly force, and literally a half second later you're not. So I think he had a decision to make, and I think you're right. I think he sensed this guy probably isn't really wanting to hurt anybody else. Maybe he wants us to kill him, or maybe he wants to kill himself or whatever, but he doesn't feel that threat. If that's how you feel in the moment as an officer, that's your perception, that's fine. Just be ready for this person to change their mind and double down and decide, no, I'm going to have this cop will shoot me, and I'm going to do whatever I have to do to get him to do that, up to and including stabbing him. So you got to be careful, but kudos for the restraint for sure.
I also want to note here, you notice he's got a big leather jacket on, he's got heavy jeans on, he's got boots on. And we see them try to use the 40 multiple times, completely ineffective. They try to use a taser multiple times. I don't even know why they tried the taser. The taser was never gonna work here. It's outside the use envelope of the taser. And I'm just gonna say it again, bring back OC spray. Every agency on the street in America should have quality OC spray, because that absolutely would have changed this guy's behavior and probably ended this a lot sooner.
Yeah, I'm not sure if LAPD has or does not have OC spray these days. I feel like they have to. It's incredible to me that they are getting rid in some places of really important tools in the toolbox of officers and deputies, shotguns, for example, and OC spray. Yeah, I think OC spray would have changed this thing would have been over a lot quicker, in my opinion, had they been able to successfully deploy OC spray and get this guy to where he can't see where he's going. He can't do anybody any harm because he literally can't find them, all right, in the darkness that is his eyes clamped shut and just ropes of snot coming out of his nose. That might have been more effective. I'm not sure why that didn't happen. Maybe they figured this is, only taser or beanbag or 40 mic or gun or whatever, but I think OC spray might have made all the difference in the world.
I also want to say here, though, that I think whoever is in charge here, whoever the supervisor is, and I think we're watching the supervisor's badge cam here, did a pretty darn good job. I think he's dishing out jobs. He's asking people to chill out, to let things kind of happen because we don't have any imminent threat right now. Yes, we got to get this guy into custody, but we can take a minute, see if we can get there, see if something changes in our favor. So I really think from a supervisory perspective here, he's passing out jobs, giving everybody something to do, and handling his business.
Yeah, one of the dangers you have in a situation like this with a rolling knucklehead, who's walking on the street with a knife, is people getting really, really offline, and then you end up having some blue on blue potential situations. So keeping them online, keeping them calm, giving them work to do, I think was critical. And I'm not even sure this officer who is doing all the coordinating is even a supervisor. I thought they were asking for a sergeant. I could be wrong. But like we say all the time, hey, if you're in a situation like this and everyone's sort of running around with their hair on fire and no one's in charge, well, now you're in charge until someone who outranks you shows up. I think you did a great job of sort of getting these guys online and formulating an actual plan rather than having everybody running around kind of doing different stuff. So well done on his part. And here we're going to see, this officer decide to quote unquote use the car. It looks like he was never made contact. It looks like he was trying to get the guy to fall down or do something. But I don't understand why this is as out of policy as it is. Again, removing things like shotguns and OC spray and forbidding this from ever being an option in your policy is only harmful to your officers. It's only going to make your officers and your deputies second guess themselves at every turn. You want your officers confident that if they do a thing that's reasonable, even if it's outside of policy, they're not going to get hemmed up for it. And unfortunately, it looks like this officer got hemmed up in some kind of way, shape, or form. I think it's probably wrong.
And that could be political. That could be, okay, we're going to find something here that was out of policy and we're going to tell this guy offline, yeah, man, it's out of policy. You're going to get, a verbal warning for that or whatever. But everybody understands what you did was okay. I hope that's the case here, because I actually think this officer showed really good initiative to say the beanbags aren't working, the tasers aren't working. I don't want this guy to get shot. So how do I protect myself and still affect his behavior? Well, if I get in the cruiser, they call that a shop in the lingo. That's what you're hearing the cops call it these days. The kids and their punk rock music. And then that protects me from the knife. And then I can just barely nudge him and see if I can knock him down and see if we can get him to drop the knife with that. That it won't likely injure him in any significant way if I just barely bump him. And if you look here on camera, he never actually hits him with the cruiser. He actually stops a couple of inches from him, and the guy puts his hands down on the hood and then falls over on his own. It's like, I think he has a career in Major League Soccer as an absolute acting flopper. And so I just hope that happens, that they can appeal any punishment that he receives. And if that officer's representation needs any help, come and get me. I can help you guys with this one.
Yeah, absolutely. Again, I want to reiterate this piece about there are certain departments where IA will always try to find something that maybe isn't there. This is an example of that, in my opinion. Is there was no there. He didn't hit him. If he hit him, it was so very lightly as to not cause injury. But bear in mind, if you do use that tactic, it's kind of like with the taser. If they do fall over, there's always an above average possibility of a head wound, of a head injury of some kind. So you got to be prepared for that. But the other option here, honestly, was that this guy gets shot by one of the officers. So I don't see the problem. We do want to talk about this for a moment. John, I think you had another dated pop culture reference to discuss in reference to the trip here. Am I wrong?
Yeah, I mean, it looked like a little Jeff Gillooly, right? Just step in and whack him in the knee and see how that goes. And here's the thing with that, is that this exposed the officer to more risk. This exposed the officer to risk because he's at range in the knife as opposed to the officer inside the cruiser who wasn't. So yes, bonus 10 points if you get that dated pop culture reference. If so, make sure you schedule your colonoscopy. But here, I think it was good, again, probably outside of policy to kick to the knee like this, but it got the guy off of his feet where they could get him there. So I would applaud both of those instances, Mike, because it was effective.
Yeah, at the end of the day, you got to realize these officers, I think this guy probably wanted to die. He wasn't sure how he was going to go about it. And these officers saved his life that day. Now, could he turn around and try it again the next day? Absolutely, he can. But these officers went in with a mindset of, we want to get this guy the help he needs. We want to get him, away from the knife, separated from the knife, and save his life. And that's exactly what they did. I'm not sure why tripping someone in this position would be out of policy. I hope it's not, because a kick to the knee or a strike like that to trip somebody up who's running away from you is perfectly fine. It's the same thing if he would have tackled him, would have been roughly the same idea. So hopefully that's not a policy issue with LAPD. I know they've had their struggles with training and with high-profile incidents, but I mean, if you can't trip somebody who's running away with a knife, what can you do?
There's actually more force using it and kicking him in the knee here than it was driving the cruiser up to him. So I just think there's an inconsistency there that should be addressed, because I think it should be in policy for both of them. It should be fine. You want to notice here, though, he still has the knife on him. All right, and I do want to say this here, as we see this in the comments sometime, that we'll hear somebody say, well, they only gave him that much consideration because he's white. First of all, I don't know what his race is actually. Secondly, I really think what we see here is officers just trying to save a life. And I don't think they considered skin color as part of that. I don't think that's how they operate. I think they took into light the circumstances and said, the guy has a knife, he's probably more of a threat to himself than to anyone else, and we can get him into custody without having to shoot him. I'd sure like to, because it just made the local news here. This isn't one that had made the national news. And even so, the guy has a knife, he's still flailing around with the knife. If an officer had shot him, probably would be justified, but it would be in that can I instead of must I. And so kudos to LAPD here for not pulling the trigger.
Yeah, if you're an officer or deputy, you find yourself in this position and you see this exact thing, I really recommend putting a foot, boot, whatever you're wearing, shoes, Nikes, right onto that guy's wrist and or hand to keep that thing pinned down until you have enough people situated on him that you can get it away from him safely. I would really recommend a boot or a shoe rather than your hand. At the end of the day, they did what they did. And I'm going to reiterate that I think these LAPD officers saved this guy's life. I don't think there should be any retribution against the officer who was in the cruiser. I think he did a fine job. He thought outside the box. He tried something different. It didn't work right away, but it did give him that moment where they interrupted his behavior long enough that he could actually be tripped. He was directed in a certain way and tripped up and got into custody safely. So at the end of the day, LAPD, IA, leave these guys alone. They did a fantastic job and covered their ass.